Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelsey and I'm here today to start the Kane Chronicles read along. So if you've been following my channel forever, my friend Hanani and I have been reading through what started with the Percy Jackson series into the Heroes of Olympus series, and now we're reading Rick Riordan's third book, The Kane Chronicles. So The Kane Chronicles follows two characters. The book starts with the Red Pyramid. Sorry if I didn't say that. But The Kane Chronicles follows two siblings, Carter and Sadie. After their mother's abrupt passing, Sadie lives in London with her grandparents, and Carter lives with their father, Dr. Julius Kane. He is the brilliant Egyptologist. One day, Dr. Kane brings the siblings together for a research experiment at the British Museum. Obviously it goes awry. The story definitely takes off from there, and we're seeing a lot of Egypt mythology. It's really cool. Now, usually I start these vlogs in the day before Hanani and I start our sprints, because the whole point and joy that we get from reading this series together is the laughter and good times and good vibes we get from the reading sprints. However, like with the last couple of my Rick Riordan vlogs, I am so hungover in the morning. And I have to tell myself that I am 30 years old now and I can't drink wine the way that I thought I could. It is 10 p.m. and look at the bags under my eyes. I'm still suffering. It's not a good day. So I will include clips of Hanani and I's reading sprints here. Are you ready?
I went to my mom's maybe like a couple weeks ago, maybe last week, I don't remember. She just gave me this bag and she's like, here you go. Here's all your stuff.
Yeah.
But this was in it.
Is that like the OG cover?
Yeah. But only this one, the other two, I don't know. And I'm like, okay. And obviously somebody read it because the spine, you know?
Was it you?
I don't think so.
Imagine we're reading it, you're like, wait a second. Yeah. The Red Pyramid. This follows.
Ooh, that's nice.
Mm-hmm. But I'm interested to see if Rick Riordan talks about like the British Museum at all and like what it's done to the world.
This is really good.
I wanted to spend this time talking about how good it is.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I'm like for the Heroes of Olympus. I'm over Greek mythology at this point in time.
I think that's what it is. This feels like funky fresh. Like I'm learning things. Yeah. I think that's another thing that I like. Yes. Because I feel like with Greek and like Roman, like
you're myths, like, all right,
yeah. I'm like I kind of get it. Okay, listen. Some authors do it better. Okay.
Okay, I gave Game of Thrones 4 stars. Miss.
Yeah. Okay. We can read perspectives. Just some perspectives are too much.
Yeah. I mean, Sansa's chapters, I just.
Okay. Anyways, we're going on a break. I'm not having this argument again. Goodbye, everyone. Did you see? There was like one line, where he's like, "Oh, the one side of New York is already taken over."
Yeah,
or something like that. I was like,
"The other gods in Manhattan."
Yeah,
Manhattan I was like, own problems.
You cheeky little.
Yeah. As soon as they mentioned the cat, I was like,
if I know one thing about Egypt,
yeah. This cat is going to be a
special
cat.
But as for my thoughts on this book, I'm actually really, really loving it. So I brought this up in the reading sprints today that I'm loving first of all, the way it's written. So the book is written in dual perspective, which was something I didn't really enjoy from Heroes of Olympus. But I think because it's just following the two siblings, it's not as jarring and it doesn't feel as random to have multiple points of view. But the story is told like as if the siblings are recording it in like some sort of documentation, which I think is super fun and super cute. And you really get to see their two perspectives, their two voices. And I think that's also something that really helps with this book and the multiple perspectives, because both of them have like really different voices and it's easy to differentiate between the two. So I'm loving that. I think the Egypt mythology is really interesting, and I also really enjoy that when they are discussing hieroglyphics, the hieroglyphics are themselves within the pages. So that's really interesting. I think it's really different. I was mentioning it today in the reading sprints as well that I think the Kane Chronicles is going to feel like a nice refresher for our journey with Rick Riordan, because we read the Percy Jackson series, that was Greek mythology. We read the Heroes of Olympus series, and while that included Roman mythology, it still was Greek mythology, which we're all like well aware of. We all like kind of know Greek mythology. It's in Western culture, I feel like it's pretty normal to kind of understand those mythoses. And then after the Kane Chronicles, we go back into the Trials of Apollo, which is again Greek mythology or Roman. I can't really remember. This is going to be a nice refresher. I don't think this really tackles with anything involving the Percy Jackson series or the Heroes of Olympus series. There are like some little nods, but other than that, I'm really, really excited to go on this journey. I think it's going to be a breath of fresh air in Rick Riordan's like universe of us reading it. Today, I only got to page 65, so I will continue reading. I don't expect me to finish this in one day, especially because I have a lot going on over the course of the next 2 days. That's going to be very difficult, but you will get this vlog regardless. It's a thickums boy, and I will continue now. Hello, so sorry for the terrible lighting. It's very late at night. I just got back from a very difficult few days. I haven't updated in a while, but I did read 50 pages last night before going to bed. I am at about the 200 page mark, give or take. So by this point, I don't really remember what I've spoken about when it comes to the plot direction of the story. But at this point where I am, Sadie and Carter were taken to Egypt to go to a school to test their capabilities. And what we learned there is that Sadie and Carter have very, very high, intense magic, and one of the girls that works there, who is like an older student in a way, named Zaya, explains to them that they potentially are the hosts of gods. So we learn in this novel that the Egyptian gods take hosts within the world to form their bodies, essentially, to therefore like be on planet Earth and cause chaos, cause amok. Something is going down where a new leader of the first gnome is where they are learning, where their school is in Cairo, and the new leader of the first gnome wants to kill Sadie and Carter due to the fact that they are potentially hosting very powerful gods and have very high powers. Sadie and Carter therefore run away to Paris, and they meet back up with Bast, which is the cat god, who was taking the role of their cat for many years. So we are at that point where basically Carter and Sadie are kind of being chased from both the first gnome people who want to get rid of them, who think that that will help save whatever is going on with them. And then they are also being chased obviously by the god of chaos Set and his minions, the people that he's basically sending to find Carter and Sadie to take them down. In addition to that, Sadie and Carter have also lost their uncle named Amos, I believe. And I think he has also been taken by Set because Set has his eyes set on taking over the Canes or removing the Canes from the world. What we also learned by this point is that Carter and Sadie are also descendants of pharaohs. So I think that was really interesting. They come from two very powerful ancient families. So I'm hoping that we really get into that background, get into that historical context, because I think it could be really, really interesting. And yeah, that's it for now. I'm probably going to read a bit more tonight before I go to bed, but I am absolutely exhausted. But hopefully I will be able to read I would like to read at least 100 pages tonight, but we'll see what happens. As you could tell from my absolutely lovely visuals I'm providing here, I think I have a sinus infection. I don't know what has overcome me. It definitely explains my bleh feeling these past few days. Yesterday, I felt so sick. I took a nap in the middle of like my work day because I needed to sleep. I woke up with the craziest jaw pain. Let me take off these glasses actually. Like with what's been going on family matter wise, I was like, okay, maybe you know, I am clenching my jaw from like the emotions that I'm feeling that I don't show because I'm a Capricorn. No, turns out it's some sort of sinal blockage and not because of the stars, you know? Everything can't be explained by the fact that I'm a Capricorn. So today, yesterday I did manage to read, not that much, obviously, because I was feeling, honestly, I think I sound worse today than I was feeling yesterday. But I got to page 350, so I read about 150 pages yesterday. And so far, the story is still developing the way it is. Basically, something I'm noticing with the King Chronicles is that it's following a very similar structure to the Heroes of Olympus series, where it's like, they have to go somewhere, something happens, then they have to go somewhere else, something happens, and they have to go somewhere else, something happens. But these events don't feel substantial. And I think they could be done in a more like condensed way. This novel is like over 500 pages. And I think Percy Jackson probably did this, but those books were like 300 pages max. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I think they did it, but it didn't feel as tedious to read because the books weren't as long. Do you get what I'm saying? So right now I don't remember where they are. I think they are in Memphis. Oh no. So much happened. So right now they are in the River of the Dead, which because they are in the United States, it is the Mississippi River. And I am enjoying this like the visuals that Rick Riordan is doing because it really feels like they are in a dreary and scary place. I think the consequences of what happens in the River of the Dead will be very interesting to see as the novels go on. So what we did learn, I don't know if I spoke about this, but they are children of pharaohs. They are able to host gods. They learned that their parents were able to do this. So I think that this will be a big theme for the rest of the novels. And I'm interested to see how that magic system works. We also learned that their parents were also able to host gods and potentially did host gods already. So they are kind of repeating what happened with the gods in the past. I'm interested to see if we get any more like historical stuff about that story and if they're gonna change it in some way, which I know they will because it's a middle grade, but like, you know, keep the suspicions up. So I'm going to continue reading this when I can today. I also want to go to the gym. We're gonna see how I feel. And if I feel okie dokie, I will go to the gym.
Success!
Hello, so I just got back from the gym. I'm going to start where I left off, listening to some reading sprints and continuing with the Kane Chronicles. Sorry also if this vlog is really boring. It's literally been the worst week to read this, but we will prevail. I will post this. Will anyone watch? We'll see. Okay, so I have 100 pages left in this book, and I have a theory. And I want to say this theory because if I'm right, I want proof that I'm right. In the book, they are able to host gods, right? Blah, 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 all that shit. The leader of the magicians is named Desjardins. He's French, okay? And he doesn't like the twins, the siblings, because he's like, no. You guys have superpowers and we can't allow that. That's too much. They're like, oh, he hates us. But Set is caught speaking French. So they're like, oh my God, Desjardins is hosting Set and that's why he wants to kill us. But another god told Sadie, watch out for your uncle. So now their uncle showed up randomly when they're getting attacked by a river god. And now I'm like, big brain energy over here. Is Uncle Amos hosting Set? Because they're like, yeah, Set is inspired or he attracts ambitious people. And maybe Amos is ambitious, overly ambitious in an evil way because he always had to compete with his brother. We will find out. We will.
When you find out you were right.
Hello! So I was editing this vlog and I realized that I never closed it out and I never gave my final thoughts, final rating for the book. So honestly, as you guys saw, I went into this book really not knowing what to expect from it, and I came out of it super surprised and super happy. I'm just genuinely, like, after this whole reading experience, so shocked why people don't enjoy this book as much as they enjoyed the Percy Jackson series. There's obviously a sense of nostalgia to that, but I think that this book is just as solid. It felt so fresh, as I've said multiple times throughout this vlog, compared to the other Rick Riordan series that I've read. The characters had personalities that we haven't really seen before, and a sibling dynamic with each other that felt new. I do want to interject here and say that I think Sadie is the more difficult character to get into, to like, especially in the beginning, but I do promise that she grows on you. I think you do end up liking her towards the end, but she's definitely a hard character to get into in the beginning. Their voices as siblings felt so different from what we've seen before, and that ties into the way that the narrative, or the chosen narrative, was told. I mentioned this in the sprints, I mentioned this in the vlog, that I think it was really interesting that they're like recording a tape, they're recording their experience in the past tense. It made sense to why there is multiple perspectives, and it also made sense to tie together both the beginning and the ending, and why they had to tell a story the way that they did. The mythology was also very different, and as both Haunani and I mentioned within this video, is that it felt really refreshing to be in another mythology besides Greek or Roman, and this is probably the main concept to why this book felt so new, felt so engaging to me. Granted, I love Greek mythology. I've read multiple books that are retellings of Greek myths, but it was just nice and interesting to see Riordan explore something new. The way that the children interact with the gods, or rather their relationships with the gods, is very fascinating. Can't wait to see how it develops. It felt so unique. I'm very, very excited to continue this series. It was an excellent beginning. I gave this 4 stars and I'm super excited to continue. So that's it for this month. That was my review of The Red Pyramid. Next month, we will be reading The Throne of Fire, the second book in the King Chronicles series. I am very excited to see where it goes. I love this cover, this color scheme. I'm excited. But if you've made it to the end of the video, please let me know if you've read this series, this book. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know. And also, if you would like to follow me on any of my other social medias, I do leave a link down below to my Twitter, Goodreads, and Instagram if you would like to follow me there. And of course, because it is the end of the video, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. It does wonders for my channel. It makes me feel really good. And that's it. I never know how to end these things, so I will see you next month for The Throne of Fire, and okay, goodbye.